Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, all my people, man. We live and direct, 6:30 a.m. Pacific time, 8:30 a.m. Central time, where I'm at. Got some good things to talk about on the docket today. 49ers elite players, I don't think they're getting enough love. All right, so we're going to get into that. Got some elite players, got a person playing elite at all the right times. All right, so we want to give everybody their flowers this morning. We're going to get into it. It's the San Francisco 49ers morning show. Let's go.
Intercepted. It is picked off by Eric Walker. Over midfield, he'll run it all the way into the end zone. Touchdown.
Crop Talk TV podcast. Peace. Welcome to another episode of the San Francisco 49ers Morning Show. I'm your host, former NFL and AFL defensive back, Eric Crocker, and I'm excited. I'm always excited to talk with you guys, man. I feel like you guys are my family. All right, so good morning to everybody. I hope everybody's doing good. Definitely want to do a mental health check, make sure everybody's doing good. So put those flames in the chat, man. If you're feeling good, 5 flames, you know what I'm saying? If you need to be doing a little bit better, less than 5 flames, and then, we need to talk about it. What's going on in your life, how we can all help. I do want to, I do want to help. You know what? Not help me, but I need you guys to help a cause that I'm trying to get in on. And I'll put the link in the chat right now. But as you guys all know, I live in Arkansas, and out here in Arkansas, there was just a tornado that hit the northeast region of the state, and it tore up a lot of homes. It messed up a lot of stuff, and there are a lot of kids that they're not gonna have much for Christmas. So one of my guys reached out to me, out here in Arkansas. He reached out to me and was like, "Hey, Croc, we're gonna create a GoFundMe to, hopefully we can raise enough money to get these kids, toys and do a toy drive, and they're gonna go up this weekend and deliver everything. And I want you guys, or not want you guys, but if you guys have it, have the ability to, donate whatever you can, whether it's $5, $10, whatever it is, anything helps. So there are a lot of people in the northeast region of Arkansas right now. It was a devastating tornado that hit. And if you guys can help those kids and those families, that'd be awesome. They just want to make sure that those kids get the same Christmas as everyone else. So I'll put that in the chat right now. Here we go. And it is we'll call it tornado relief fund. All right. So if you guys want to help the people in the northeast region of Arkansas who, they've been devastated by injuries. I mean injuries. Football is always on my mind. By a tornado. There's a link right there where you can help. So, if you got it, $5, $10, whatever it is gonna help those kids. I'm gonna be posting it to Twitter in a little bit. So, but y'all know what it is, man. San Francisco 49ers morning show, man. I want to come on here and give some guys their flowers. But let's start with, if you haven't already, listen to Locked On 49ers podcast with myself, Brian Peacock. And every Wednesday is Winky Wednesday. All right, Winky Wednesday. So we had Nick Winkler on there, and we had a lot of fun with the episode last night. We premiered it on YouTube. So, we were in the chat talking with everybody. That was awesome. Shout out to Nick Winkler. He's always a pleasure to have on. Listen to Locked On 49ers, Locked On NFL Draft. We're getting into the draft prospects and everything like that. Last night, myself, Ryan Tracy, we got in on the film of some of these offensive linemen. Big offensive lineman Evan Neal from Alabama. He's the big guy, but I don't know. I didn't like him as much as some of the other guys I watched. So, offensive lineman, we're going to keep a lookout on those guys. Obviously, the 49ers, right side of the line, we'll see what happens. If you believe in player development, I don't think the 49ers draft a guard or anything. We'll see what happens with their guard. He's going to have to get his opportunity at some point. But, yeah, man, we got to give people their flowers this morning. All right. Well, here we go. That show was fire last night. Jimmy G is corn dog. So Is it corn dog? So let's talk about it. All right, I got my guy Ben. Obviously, he listened to the Locked On 49ers episode or watched it on YouTube. And we were talking about Kyle Shanahan and his unwillingness to, not unwillingness, but right now his state of mind isn't develop guys. That's not where his mindset is. His mindset right now is on winning and really not having to deal with the development aspect of things, the ups and downs that comes with playing rookies, as we saw with Ambry Thomas, and we talked through that. And eventually, I'm gonna have a guy on here that went through similar situations, but Kyle doesn't want to deal with that. So we were looking at the quarterback situation and everything, and we talked about how he's kind of having a hard time making his mind up with, I think, what he feels is right and what he wants to do, and where the 49ers are right now. And right now, obviously, it makes the most sense for the 49ers to play Jimmy Garoppolo. He gives the 49ers the best chance to win, as we've seen, right? And this wasn't part of the show right now. I'm just kind of responding to the comment. But so we had we started talking about Kyle Shanahan and his thoughts on it. And I was like, Kyle, he wants the hot and ready pizza. He wants to go to Little Caesars and grab that hot and ready pizza and just start eating. All right. He doesn't want to get the Papa Murphy's, I call it Papa John's, but the Papa Murphy's pizza where you got to take it home, you got to unwrap it, you got to preheat the oven, right? You got to put it in the oven, you got to wait for it to cook, right? He doesn't want to do that. You know what I'm saying? He wants to eat it right now. So I compare Jimmy Garoppolo to corn dogs, which I love corn dogs, but corn dogs and I have a love-hate relationship because as much as I really want to eat corn dogs, I know it's not good for me, but it works. Right? After I eat the corn dog, like I'm not full anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't know if there's any corn dog lovers out there. I love corn dogs. Take me to a county fair or something like that, and they fry the corn dogs. Matter of fact, we have one of those air fryer things, and my son showed me how to use the air fryer. And once I learned that I can just pop the corn dogs in the air fryer and throw some French fries in there as well, and it cooks all together. Yeah, come on, man. I love that. So I love it, but I know it's like that's not the best thing for me, but it's fast, it's simple, it's easy, it works. And that's Jimmy Garoppolo. That's Jimmy Garoppolo. Trey Lance, he's the organic pizza. He's with the cauliflower and instead of the regular flour, right? It's healthier, but it takes longer to prepare. It takes longer to cook. You know what I'm saying? You got to preheat the oven. You got to put it in the oven. You got to wait for it to cook. Kyle wants that corn dog that he can just pop in the microwave right now. Mustard's, I think that's the worst condiment. I'm not going to lie. I think mustard's the worst condiment. Let's get to the super chat. Appreciate the super chat. Biggest offseason moves you would like to see. What position groups need the most help in your opinion? This is good stuff. All right, you guys are giving me good content right now to start off with because, again, I started off wanting to talk about, some of the elite players, and we're gonna get to that. But biggest offseason moves I would like to see. It's tough because the way I view the 49ers roster, I think it's a good roster. Like when you look at the grand scheme of things and with it just healthy, and then we'll talk about some of my philosophies. That'd be good. This would be a good topic. All right, again, wasn't on the docket, but this would be a good topic. So I'm becoming more and more of a firm believer of building from the inside out. Offensive line, defensive line. I really think that's the way to go and the way to get the most impact, especially depending on how high you're drafting. All right. Now, everything is just determined by the way the board is set, and you'll have to see how players fall. So in the draft, I don't necessarily want to go for need, but you definitely want to go for when the need meets the player. You know what I'm saying? That like the player wherever you have him ranked, if he's high up there and the need meets that, then okay, go get that player. Free agency. Let's talk about free agency real quick. If it's me and I'm in charge of free agency, what do I get? I definitely go get a cornerback. Now, not a cornerback in what you guys think. All right. I know everybody thinks you go get a JC Jackson or one of these big name cornerbacks, right? I'm not going to go that route. I do need depth at the cornerback position and somebody that potentially, is better than a Josh Norman or is better than a Dante Johnson, right? Like maybe this isn't the guy long term, but I gotta see what I have in the Ambry Thomas. I gotta see what I have in Diamador Lenore. So what I would do is I would go for a free agent, not to pay someone to come in and start over Ambry Thomas or Diamador Lenore or whatever that situation is, but somebody that's going to come in and push them. So a couple years ago, the 49ers in free agency had an opportunity to get, I believe it was Bradley Roby, right? The cornerback at Ohio State. He was with the Broncos for a while. He was kind of their nickel corner. He wasn't the nickel, but he would just come in nickel packages, play on the outside. And I would have brought him in to compete with Kelly Witherspoon. Now, here's the issue. When you have somebody like Bradley Roby, he's solid corner. I felt like Witherspoon was potentially a solid corner. You can come in and have somebody push somebody, but when you have to pay them $10 million, most likely that guy has to play, right? So I probably wouldn't have paid him $10 million. I would go out and look for somebody that's a $1 to $2, maybe $3 million cornerback and have him compete with the likes of Ambry Thomas and Diamador Lenore. That's how I would do it. I would not. I think everybody wants the 49ers to draft a cornerback high. I have to know what I have in Ambry Thomas and Diamador Lenore before I put a lot of resources into that position via the draft. All right. Again, you got the Papa Murphys. You know what I'm saying? It might take, got to preheat the oven. You got to put it. It's not instant, right? I know everybody wants the corn dog cornerback. The cornerback that's, hey, we just put this in the microwave real quick. 2 minutes, it's done. Boom. And we can eat it. All right. I don't think that's I want to, there's going to have to be some developing as far as Ambry Thomas, or you're going to continue to go through that cycle where every time you draft a player, if he's not instantly exactly what you want, you're just going to move on and draft somebody else to replace him. And then what if that guy, it's the same thing, right? There has to be the process, the development and whatever. Then now, damn, I got to do it again. Damn, I got to do it again. I don't think that's the right way to do it. So, and they drafted Ambry Thomas, they drafted Diamador Lenore. If they just absolutely feel like Ambry Thomas isn't it, and they didn't draft him really high, I mean, he was a super late third-round pick. If they feel like he's not it, again, I would still, for next year, I would go with, let me sign a free agent that's going to push him. And maybe not, but to where it's not, that free agent not enough money to where I have to play him right now. Because if you pay big money for a free agent, he's coming in and he's starting. And then what happens with the development of Ambry Thomas? Do we just forget about it? And then do we continue to do that? Same thing with interior offensive line, right? Right guard. Got Aaron Banks. You just drafted him second round. You come in and say, well, the right side of the offensive line has been a little weak, so let's just go and draft a right guard. What about Ambry Thomas? I mean, Aaron Banks. Did you just forget about him? You know what I'm saying? So from that standpoint, I feel like you can bring certain guys in free agency. Right guard, bring in a right guard that can compete with Aaron Banks. Bring in a cornerback that can compete with Ambry Thomas, but it can't be to the extent of pushing Ambry Thomas to the side. That would be my opinion. So that's how I would address those two positions. Aside from that, I like the way that the 49ers are kind of constructed. If it were me, and we talk about positions and moves and things like that, I would trade Jimmy Garoppolo, and then I just pay a backup like $8 million, right? So what does that backup look like? There are guys out there like Mr. Trubisky, who's, he's a backup for Buffalo right now. He looked good in preseason. That type of backup that has experience, that has played, that has ability, that you can really kind of have a similar offense with both guys. Andy Dalton, guys like that come to mind where that's your backup, to Trey Lance. I would bring in a guy like that. I like the thoughts this offseason. If you guys, maybe a lot of you didn't listen to me this offseason, but, I like the thoughts of getting rid of it. Once the 49ers made the trade up to three, my initial reaction was get rid of Jimmy right now, sign a guy like Fitzpatrick. That was my thoughts. Obviously, they do that, but get a guy like that, the vet. He can come in, he can play. What you don't want to do is get in a situation like they were, and it's like, okay, we got Trey Lance, but then behind him we got a CJ Beathard. Now, I'm not saying CJ Beathard, but a quarterback where it's just like, bro, we're done. Get you a veteran that you feel like can win some games. If there's a knee sprain and your guy has to miss a game or so. So I don't think that I would have any just big time changes to anything with the 49ers right now. Definitely some guys are going to have to sign. Aziz Al-Shair. There's some defensive linemen, I'm pretty sure. If there was one area where I would spend big money, it would be defensive line. I would go get me a bookend edge rusher. What do I have to pay to get this edge rusher? Let me get that. That's probably the one position. I know everybody's thinking cornerback. It wouldn't be cornerback. Again, cornerback, I would bring somebody in to compete with Ambry Thomas. Right guard, I would bring somebody to compete with Aaron Banks. All right. Bring somebody in to compete with the corners, the young corners. Bring somebody in to compete with Aaron Banks. But I would not. Big money, let me go get that edge rusher. Big money edge rusher. Who is that guy? All right. To have somebody, a bookend play opposite, our guy Nick Bosa. And that, so that's kind of some of the things, some of my thought process. Again, that was kind of off the cusp. So we'll get more into that, I'm sure. Because remember, we come in 5 days a week, regardless of the time of year. And there's going to be a lot to talk about this offseason with how to construct the 49ers. But it's still season, man. 49ers are doing their thing. Everything's on the up and up. Won 4 out of the last 5 games. So we don't got to talk about the offseason just yet. Here we go. Please keep breathing your prayers. He's sick and has a fever of 103. You know what, Peachy? I saw that and I appreciate the contribution. You have to leave a contribution for me to put this on the screen. I did see that. And yeah, man, prayers up to my guy Wayne Breezy, high fever. There's that new variant of COVID going around right now. So, everybody be safe. We see what's happening in the NFL right now. How many teams right now are dealing with just COVID like by the mass, right? I think it's like 8 players or so with the LA Rams. Like, that's crazy. Now, if they have to miss some time, I hope they stay healthy. I hope they're healthy and nothing bad happens. But it wouldn't be the worst thing if they missed a couple games or a game or so. Right tackle. I wouldn't draft right tackle. Or I wouldn't draft free agent. I wouldn't. Okay, could we look at the right tackle position? One, McGlinchey's coming back. They picked up his 5th-year option, so he's back. All right, so there's that aspect of it. 2, you drafted a guy like Jalen Moore. Again, I believe in the power of development. That's just so when you get a guy like Jalen Moore, and you have a guy like Mike McGlinchey, I would just prepare for when McGlinchey is going the following year. Jalen Moore, you make sure you're ready to take over that right tackle spot. That's where my mind would be. Right guard, not drafting right guard. I just drafted 1 second round. We got you don't want to. You drafted 1 second round this year, and then do you want to turn around and draft another one, or do you want to bring in a free agent that's going to play over him and not really give him the proper opportunity to develop? Right? I wouldn't go with right guard or really right tackle at that. Find a CB1 in free agency. Bring Verrett back for depth. Let them all compete for CB2 with Mosley and other rookies. I wouldn't do that either. Okay, so find the CB1 in free agency. All right, let's look at free agency real quick. Free agent, cornerbacks. Hold on. 2022. All right, let's bring up these guys in the sense of all right, we're looking for a CB1, which I don't know. If you were a team and you had a CB1 on your roster, would you let him go? Say 49ers right now. And if you watch around the league, a lot of teams are kind of struggling to have like legit cornerbacks. You know what I'm saying? Legit corner. Everybody wants a CB1. Everybody. So why would you let a CB1 go? You can only let a CB1 go if you have another CB1, but what team is that? So let's look into that a little bit. And then let's talk about the I'm pressing the wrong buttons. And then let's talk about what we feel is the best way to go about it as a collective group here. All right, we'll talk through it. And I'll give my what I'm thinking, and then you guys talk to me a little bit about what you're thinking. All right. So here we go. We're bringing up the free agents. All right, and I'm gonna remove that. But remember, guys, I'm removing that so that we can see the screen. But remember, we're looking at free agents. Damn, they got all these damn pop-ups. I can't get that. So you got Stephon Gilmore. All right, Stephon Gilmore, definitely, bringing him in, that would be awesome. I thought the 49ers had an opportunity to trade for him this year, and I definitely feel like they would have been better for it. Maybe at the time because the 49ers were in the midst of, what was it, losing 4 straight games. So maybe the 49ers didn't feel like they were there to take on his salary, which looks like he was making $13 million. Maybe the 49ers just didn't have the money to take on his salary. All right. So you have Stephon Gilmore. He's a candidate, right? So do you say, all right, we're gonna bring in we're gonna pay Stephon Gilmore. First, he has to want to play for you. You have to give him big time money, which 49ers should have some money to play with. All right. You got Stephon Gilmore, Emmanuel Mosley. How do you like that? And now we're saying, okay, maybe if it's just for a year, so Ambry Thomas, we can let that whole thing happen organically, and Ambry Thomas can potentially, continue to quote unquote develop while still having a bona fide starter. Now, again, you're gonna have to pay Stephon Gilmore probably some big time money, but I would say he's worth it. All right. You have Joe Hayden, Kyle Fuller, Chris Harris, Patrick Peterson, Bryce Callahan. Some of these guys that I'm mentioning, they aren't their name might be bigger than what they are today. Here's the thing with cornerbacks. Again, you look around the league and a lot of guys are getting beat. Patrick Peterson, he's fine, but he's not the Patrick Peterson that we once known. When you think of CB1 in your head, I don't think Patrick Peterson is quite that. So there's that aspect of it. Look, Jason Verrett, he's one of the top guys. The 49ers have him, and he's injured right now. I'd say out of all these guys, even Bryce Callahan, I wouldn't have expected him to be, pushing 30, 31 years old. You got to kill the Witherspoon, which is crazy because Spoon's only 26 years old. That's pretty good. And then some of these other guys too. You got J.C. Jackson here. He's probably gonna be franchised. Oh, this is going by money. Okay, I see what they're doing here. Mike Hughes, if he's on a 1-year contract, that's somebody who I like. I like Mike Hughes, but again, if you're looking for like a CB1, right? I don't know if he's more of a pure nickel. I've seen him make some plays. All right, just scored a touchdown against the Raiders on a picked up a fumble. He's still young. Vikings, he was with the Vikings. He was a first-round pick. Vikings let him go. All right. He ended up going to Kansas City. If they let him go, how good is he really? Again, maybe he fits with the 49ers are. Now, if you're talking about bringing in a guy to compete with Ambry Thomas, I'm all for that. So a guy like Mike Hughes, that's more the route I would go. I would go more like, all right, if I only got to pay Mike Hughes $2 million, maybe $3 million, and he can come in and compete with Ambry Thomas. And now you're telling Ambry, like, all right, it's been a year. We're giving you a year to, get acclimated to the NFL game. You should know the system. We're going to bring a guy in. You're going to compete with him. We're going to give him a fair chance to start, but we're also going to give you a fair chance to start. So I think that's probably, Mike Hughes. That might be maybe the direction that I potentially go with. But I don't think it's as simple as just saying, all right, we're just gonna pay a guy and he's gonna come in and he's gonna be a CB1. I don't think it's that simple. Spoon is worse at covering than Norman. I wouldn't say that. I don't think Spoon is worse than Norman. But Spoon didn't make the plays that Norman made. So I do think that he's a little above him just in a pure coverage standpoint. But definitely, they both have their weird moments. Spoon, you would like to see him take the ball way more. Now, he did have 2 interceptions. What was that, Thursday Night Football? Witherspoon had 2 picks on Thursday Night Football. He was guarding Justin Jefferson in the end zone. They targeted Witherspoon twice, back-to-back plays in the end zone. He broke up both passes, and then a little bit later in the game, he had 2 interceptions. And both interceptions that Witherspoon had gave the Steelers a chance to win that game. They were big-time plays. So shout out to Keller Witherspoon. Definitely has been up and down, but he had big moments at that time. That was pretty cool to see. So I don't know if you guys watched that. Probably most of you guys didn't, huh? Spoon has no confidence, take a chance on anyone else. I don't know if you watched Spoon this year, but I just watched him. And again, they targeted him back-to-back times in the end zone with Justin Jefferson. He broke up both passes, was doing his get out of here, don't throw on me. He was doing all that. Then later in the game, he came back. He had back-to-back interceptions that gave the Steelers a chance to potentially tie or win that game. Shout out to Witherspoon. He had a big game. He had a big game. And that was on national television for everybody to see. So um you can average corners, maybe slightly above average if you have a great D line. 2019, our corners were not that great, but we had a great D line. Yeah, but I think that 2019 kind of skews like what a great D line, like, because that wasn't just a great D line, that was like a all-time great defensive line. So right now, I think the 49ers defensive line is playing good, and I think that's contributing to the 49ers having top 5, top 6 pass defense in the NFL right now. So yeah, you don't need great corners. Guys are going to get beat. Guys are going to get beat. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Guys are going to get beat. Having a good pass rush, which the 49ers have, gives you a chance. And if you look at some of the things that the 49ers have done as far as, coverage goes, just defensively, overall. So I think we look at like, the passing, this moment, but like look at the overall numbers. They're doing well. You look at passing touchdowns against them. They're doing well. Look at points against the 49ers. And if you look at recently, I mean, as tough of a game and who they were playing against Cincinnati Bengals, they gave up 23 points. That's not crazy, right? It's not crazy. So I think the 49ers defensive line definitely right now is helping the secondary. And I think that it should be the case because, again, you turn on most games and a lot of secondaries just aren't doing very well. So that's just kind of my opinion. I've been kind of beating the drum of it could be a lot worse than what we see from the 49ers secondary. It could be a lot worse. And it definitely helps to have two good safeties. And Jaquiski Tart and Jimmy Ward, really good safeties. But all right, shout out to everybody that's in the chat right now. I know we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves a little bit. If you haven't already, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you like what you heard so far. Underdog Fantasy, promo code Crocky. All right, promo code Crocky. We're going to get in Underdog Fantasy. We're going to wait till Friday for that. Last week, y'all made, we made $200. I'm going to put that back into the show, getting some merch made. The faithful, the Frontline Sports Faithful hats is going to be red and gold. Then I'm also going to have the hoodies that are is going to be the Faithful hoodies, and on the back is going to say the Faithful in the saloon font. The hoodies are going to say the Faithful right here in saloon font, and then have this logo red and gold right under it. So we're going to have the Faithful line, or we're going to put that out, and whoever we pick, man, I'm going to give send a free hoodie and hat to them. So shout out to everybody who has supported the channel, the network, everything, the growth of it. Going through some changes, but hey, we're coming along, man. We're coming along. Appreciate all that. But let's talk about Dee Ford, all right? And how did we get in here 30 minutes without talking about Dee Ford and the situation there? How did y'all feel when the 49ers originally traded for Dee Ford? I know I was excited. We're talking about a guy who, was coming off of a season, what was it, 14 sacks, 15 sacks, maybe 16 sacks. I was excited about that. Yeah, guys, run those likes, man. Run those likes up. 127 in y'all in here. I don't know how many likes are there, but it looks like it says 27. All right, but yeah, hit that like button for your boy. But when the 49ers got Dee Ford, man, like I was excited. And it was like, okay, then not only did they get Dee Ford, they got Nick Bosa. And just the impact that those two guys had on that Super Bowl run, like it was big. Words can't even put in, can't even describe like what that was for it. Now, did KC play us? I wouldn't say that. I'd say, and I'm looking at my guy Ellis's tweet. Casey, you play yourself. You know what I'm saying? You play yourself. It's on you to do the research. It's on you to look into the situation. What's going on with Dee Ford? Okay, he had XYZ injuries or whatever. If you feel like you can play through those things, then, or work through that with him, then all right. But clearly didn't happen. And he ended up being really injury prone. But he brought us a lot of joy in that first year, just being a part of a team that went to a Super Bowl. And he was a big part of that. So I wouldn't say Casey played us. You played yourself, but he did help that first year. So that was awesome. That was awesome. But they paid him a lot of money. And I'm not pocket watching or anything like that, but I would say the 49ers probably didn't think that they got the return on their investment, right? You gave up a second round pick, you had to turn around, you had to pay him, they paid him a lot of money, they moved money around. He made a lot of money. And he didn't, he only played really 1 year. So that's unfortunate. And it sounds like right now the 49ers are about to let him go. The reports are out right now that Dee Ford has informed his teammates that the 49ers are letting him go. It sounds like today is happening. And, I just say, appreciate you for the contribution to a good team in 2019. It's unfortunate he's been hurt so much and wasn't able to really play outside of that. But good career. Might be done. Might come back, see him for somebody else playing, some type of role and maybe helping someone. But it's unfortunate. Unfortunate. And I always have a soft spot for guys like that deal with injuries and that kind of derails their careers because, that's tough. That's one of those things. I don't want to say you can't control. There are things you can work on to help yourself with injuries and whatnot. But clearly, his is a little too far gone now. See, my guy Trey says an injury buyout. Yeah, injury settlement. So, injury settlements, they give you kind of a split or whatever. Do you guys know what injury settlement is? So, I remember when I was playing with the New York Jets and I had some guys. I remember my guy Vidal Hazelton. He tore his ACL in training camp, and they released him with an injury settlement. And basically, the injury settlement pays you whatever the split is for the amount of games that you're going to miss. The injury settlement pays you out that on top of being able to go and train and rehab or whatever. They basically cover that. So you go home, you train, you get paid whatever your split was going to be. So, for instance, right, when I signed with the New York Jets, it was a 3-year, $1.5 million contract. All right. Now, obviously, you only get what's guaranteed to you, and $1.5 million was not guaranteed to me. All right. Now, within your guarantees, whatever, I still have my contract. Maybe one day I'll bring it up here. So there's a split. So in my contract, it said if I had tore my ACL, that I would, instead of getting the $405,000 that I was getting for that year, that was the minimum at that time, $405,000. I would get, it was like $190,000. All right. So if I would have tore my ACL in training camp, $190,000 was coming to me. That was kind of how it goes. They give you that injury settlement and you go away. Now, sometimes you clear things and they bring you back and they keep you around for a year. You can train at the facility and things like that. But a lot of guys, especially lower end roster guys, injury settlement, and they can give you an injury settlement on anything. You can break something in your finger. And if you're going to miss 4 weeks, they can just give you an injury settlement for that. And they pay you out 4 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever that would be, like according to your split. Yeah, Hazelton, USC. I think he ended up transferring from USC and went to Cincinnati. He was with the Jets when I was there. Aggressive guy, bigger guy, about 6'3", 200+ pounds. I liked Hazelton. I believe he went up north to our buddies up there to the CFL. I believe he played up there for a little bit. Vidal Hazelton. All right. So want to get through that, but let's transition into really what we wanted to come on and talk about today. And that is, let's talk about our elite players. George Kittle. Hey, am I the only one when George Kittle catches a first down? Do y'all do that with him? Or am I the only one that does that? I'm looking in the chat right now to see if I'm alone. If I'm alone on that, then maybe I'm going to start feeling like a weirdo and I'll stop. All right. But when George Kittle catches a first down, I'm always like, y'all don't do that? Maybe I'm the only one. All right. But George Kittle, he's been elite. And it's awesome to see what he's doing right now, the impact that he's So y'all don't do that? I see Nicholas says yes. Nicholas, are you saying yes to? Okay. So y'all are doing it. So hey, Blurble Bill, I think you're alone because I see everybody saying they do it. They do it all the time. I do it too. I do it too, Croc, every time. Yes, I do. There we go. So yeah, every time George Kittle if I'm into it, if I'm getting into it and he catches it, I get up off the couch. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I feel like that's like a must anytime he does that. We got to put together like a compilation for George Kittle, man. Everybody just, when he catches the ball, everybody do it, man. I for sure do it. But anyways, he's been elite. Obviously had a big game, and George Kittle was rewarded. What? Hold on, Jesse, you haven't done it? I have never once. Wow, you gotta do it. I'm telling you, it's gonna make you feel better. It's gonna make you feel more involved. It's gonna get you into it. I'm telling you. I do. I've done it at the games. If I go to a game, I do it. Someone says that requires energy. I got a lot of energy doing the 49er games. So looks like a lot of people do it. 49er Jeff says he does it. Victor does it. I think a lot of y'all do it. Anyways, so George Kittle, he was rewarded for his big performance. NFC Offensive Player of the Week. Let's go. And I wanted to really kind of highlight the guys that are either elite players or doing elite things. And George Kittle was first on that. I mean, he's impacting the game so much, man. And for a guy who teams, you figure they're like, hey, we got to stop this guy. And they can't. When the 49ers choose to get him involved, can't stop him. You can't stop George Kittle. Now, it's on Kyle because I think sometimes we're looking, it's like, man, like one target, 12 yards, maybe he's not getting open. All right, that was the game against the Vikings. But like you clearly, if you involve him and he's getting targeted, he will win. He will win. He's gonna beat his guy. He beats his guy in man coverage. He's coming up big, like my guy Petty AF right here. It's a game changer. Okay, he's talking about that. All right, but yeah, man, like George Kittle with what he does and how he impacts the game, get him involved more. Elite player. And obviously, you know what I hate to hear about George Kittle? When people are like, George Kittle, he doesn't care if he's involved in the passing game. He loves blocking more than he loves catching passes. And he might say that, but bro, you are one of the best pass catching tight ends in the league. I don't care if we run the ball 40 times and run behind George Kittle. Throw the ball 40 times to George Kittle. You know what I'm saying? Throw the ball 40 times to George Kittle. He's too good and too much of a weapon and changes the games too much to not have heavily involved. He should see, and I said this earlier, and people were like, no, I said it. I'm going to have to find that video. I said it on Twitter. I said George Kittle and Deebo Samuel should each see minimum 8 targets a game. Minimum. There should not be a game that goes by. I don't care if the 49ers don't throw the ball a whole lot. I don't care. There should not be a game that goes by that George Kittle and Deebo Samuel don't see 8 targets each. Shouldn't be a game that happens. Those guys are playmakers. Those guys are winners. They win. The more they get the ball, the more something special is bound to happen with both of them. They're special. Deebo Samuel's special. George Kittle's special. There should not be a time where you aren't, like they should go a game and not have at least 8 targets. Not if you want an explosive offense. I think it's wild that there's a game that George Kittle has where he only sees 2 targets or 1 target. Hell, last game, Deebo saw the 1 target. And most would say, well, he's coming back from injury. Okay, so, he's coming back from injury. They're trying to, well, why did he get 8 touches in the run game? He should see 8 targets. Deebo should get 8 targets every game. Kittle. And then whatever else is there for you, Ayuk get that until further notice. All right. But want to really come out and give Kittle his flowers from what I'm seeing. Offensive Player of the Week. That's awesome. Feel like if 49ers would have won last week, he probably would have got it last week as well. Kittle's big time, man. And the 49ers have an elite player. For all the flack that the 49ers get with drafting players and stuff like that, they got an elite one with him. All right, here we go. Staying on the offensive side, there's 2 more guys I want to really get to on the offensive side of the ball. All right. And this guy, the silverback, Trent Williams, elite. And I'm talking about these guys because of the impact that they're having on games. Trent Williams has been amazing. He's like changing. He's going to probably change the way that PFF grades players because he's graded now at like 99. I've never seen it before. I have never seen this before what Trent Williams is doing. Never. And it's so crazy. And I talked about this on Locked On 49ers with my guy, Brian Peacock. Make sure you guys listen to Locked On 49ers description. The link is in the description. YouTube too. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. But we talked about it. And it was like, we watched Joe Staley. And it was like, man, Joe Staley's hella good. Man, Joe Staley, will he be Hall of Famer, right? Like, all those things. We saw him be really good for an extended period of time. Joe Staley, good football player, even better personality. And I was like, damn, all right, you go from Joe Staley to Trent Williams. And again, you can hear about how good a player is, and we hear about how good Trent Williams is, but to watch him, how can you be that much better than the guy you're like? Joe Staley was really good, and he's not even in the same tier. I thought Joe Staley was a Hall of Famer until I watched Trent Williams. That's a Hall of Famer. Joe Staley, terrific, really good. Should be Ring of Honor and all that with the 49ers. Trent Williams, that's Hall of Fame. This is the best offensive lineman I've ever seen, ever. Definitely get his flowers. And some of the stuff he does some really like unorthodox stuff. And I'm just like, how is he doing that? Or how is he? And then he just throws guys around. He throws guys around. Like, I watched him throw this Bengal player, and it was just like, how are you throwing another grown man like that? Like, how are you doing that? I just watched some guys, Charles Cross, Evan Neal, and another guy from Texas A&M, some offensive linemen. I watched 3 offensive linemen. They all play different positions. They all play tackle, left tackle or right tackle, whatever. They play all along the line. And I watched them, and it's like, okay, but what's unfair to them is that I watched Trent Williams I've been watching him for 2 seasons now. And that can skew what you think somebody's supposed to look like as a prospect. Right? Because in my head, it's like, well, he's not doing what Trent Williams does. Like, you know what I'm saying? But then it's like, man, nobody does what Trent Williams does. If somebody said right now Trent Williams is the best offensive player in the NFL, like, you wouldn't get no pushback from me. He's that dominant. And I don't even know how he's doing it. It's really one of the craziest things I've seen. So Trent Williams, definitely want to give him his flowers with how great he's playing. How great he's playing. And is it martial arts? Is that what he's doing? Because Trent Williams, he does this thing. I've never seen anyone else do it. And maybe nobody else can even try to do it. But he does like this. It's like and then like he just pushes the guy down. And I'm like, bro, I've never seen anybody else do that. Like, and he does it every game. If you just watch him like, I mean, he'll be getting into his pass set and he just boom, 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 and he just pushes the guy down into the ground. I'm like, how the hell is he doing that? How is he doing that? Trent Williams, incredible. Really the most dominant offensive lineman I've ever paid attention to. And I look at guys, I've seen guys, Joe Thomas and things like that. This guy, and people were saying it too, like Trent Williams, man, probably Hall of Famer. And I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, okay. Yeah, I know he's good. Nah, he's motherfucker Hall of Famer. He's hella good. All right, so I want to give him his flowers. All right, so I don't went over 2 guys on the opposite side of the ball. I got one more guy. All right, and I'm not going to get into Deebo Samuel just yet. All right, but I talked about guys having, being elite and their impact on the offense. All right, elite. And there's another guy that I feel like has elite moments, and it's Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy G, for as frustrating as it is to watch him, and maybe he makes it harder on himself. It definitely makes it harder on the team. And he leaves plays out there on the field. He does all that. But one thing that is, and I don't know if you guys feel the same way as me, but 49ers down and it's the last drive. Are y'all as confident as I am with that Jimmy is going to lead the 49ers down the field? I know it's frustrating. And again, I can't stand, like, I don't even know how to feel about Jimmy. But again, I feel comfortable. That last 2 minutes and the 49ers need to drive, I don't have. I'm more anxious with him throughout the game than I am with the game on the line in the last 2 minutes. Throughout the game, I remember like him throwing a deep ball and they kind of panned it, and I'm like, oh damn. Matter of fact, he threw this one ball over the middle, and I'm like, oh damn. Like I have those like it's weird, right? It's really weird. Like I'm watching them, and I'm just like, this is not good throughout the game. I was dead set on tweeting out, get Jimmy Garoppolo out of here. Like this dude is so ass. And he almost still, he tried to trick it off. The drop interception to Bates. He was not good up until that moment. But then it was like, damn, when that game is on the line, those 2 minutes, I feel like at ease with Jimmy Garoppolo at quarterback. And it's the wildest thing ever. I can't stand him for 58 minutes of the game. And then the last 2 minutes, I'm like, okay, Jimmy got this. Jimmy got this. And that's weird. That's so weird. I don't even know how to feel about it, but I'm talking about elite players, and I do feel like he is either elite or borderline elite when it comes down to those last 2 minutes. Like he just has this like moxie about him, like, okay, I'm just gonna go and I'm gonna go win this game. Whether he does or not, right? We saw against the Seahawks, we didn't win it. But I don't know. Again, and I think both things can be true, right? He can be super frustrating. You can want him out of there. You can want Trey Lance. I think that can be true. And the other thing can be true is in the last 2 minutes, there's like this calmness that comes over me with Jimmy Garoppolo at quarterback. Now, for whatever reason, fans sometimes take things like you take out of it what you want. So I'm going to make sure I continue to stress what I'm trying to say here. And I just saw a comment that said, I'm sorry, Jimmy Garoppolo is not elite. I ain't saying Jimmy is elite, but I'm saying in those last 2 minutes, I'm way more confident in those last 2 minutes than I am with him throughout an entire game. And I feel like in those last 2 minutes, like there aren't very many other quarterbacks that I feel more comfortable with being my quarterback in that moment. Now, throughout games, and maybe he's the reason why we got to that point, right? That game shouldn't have been close. That game shouldn't have been close. All we needed was a first down here and there, and that game is over with. 49ers had a chance. They got a sack with 5 minutes left in that game, up a touchdown. There should have been a drive that put that game away, right? He didn't do it. So, yeah, like he's part of the reason why he has to do those 2-minute drives. But I'm just saying in that moment, that's when I'm really confident in what he does. Here we go. Makes the Romo comp make sense. Exactly. Romo same way, right? Tony Romo, y'all don't want now. I would say Romo was better. Romo was better than Jimmy Garoppolo, but he still did the weird things that Jimmy Garoppolo would do. And again, they would do these things to where they are the reason that they have to come back at the end of the game, right? Whether they didn't put a game away. And a lot of times that's going to be the difference between, okay, 49ers against the Seahawks. 49ers were up. They were up, 9 points. And 49ers scored 0 points in the second half. To me, that's on the quarterback, right? So he's putting himself in position to have to do a game-winning drive because he didn't do enough or make enough plays or enough throws to extend that lead. How do you get stuck on 20 points or 23 points, whatever it was the 49ers had? So he's part of it. And Romo, some of the same stuff. Would throw some weird interceptions. Jimmy threw some weird interceptions. He's part of the reason why he has to come back. But still have this certain level of calmness that comes over me when Jimmy, those last 2 minutes. Consistency is key in any high-level sport. This is true. But yeah, that's my opinion. Y'all don't kill me on that. Again, y'all don't feel like that? Y'all don't feel really confident when it's like the last couple minutes and Jimmy has the ball in his hands? You guys don't feel like he's going to boom, 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 boom? It's weird. You compliment Jimmy and folks somehow forget anything you said and you get elite out of what you said. Right. I ain't saying he's elite. I'm just saying in the last 2 minutes, there aren't many quarterbacks that I would feel more comfortable with having the ball in their hands at that time. And since I feel like that, like there aren't many, I'd say maybe there's 3 or 4. I mean, even okay, listen, I would take Justin Herbert over Jimmy Garoppolo in a heartbeat. I don't even have to think about it. I don't even have to think about it, right? Herbert, Jimmy, right? But in the last 2 minutes, am I still taking Herbert over Jimmy Garoppolo? I would say no. I would say no. I would take in the last 2 minutes. If you say, all right, you got to have one of these quarterbacks in the last 2 minutes, are you taking Justin Herbert or are you taking Jimmy Garoppolo? I'm taking Jimmy Garoppolo. So that's kind of what I mean by that. Anyways, hope everybody's having a good time in the chat. I see people, having all their opinions. That's great. That's great. About to bring you guys on in 4 minutes. Last thing I just want to talk about Nick Bosa being elite. And Bosa, I mean, for everything that I said about Trent Williams, Nick Bosa is like, he's on his way there. And how is this dude doing it? Coming off of a year, he just tore his ACL. And I heard all offseason like, oh man, you can't you get your hopes up. He's not gonna look the same. Motherfucker, better, right? Elite. Nick Bosa's elite. How is Nick Bosa? Here's a couple questions. Cause I think he like leads the league on like tackles for loss or something like that. He's up there in sacks. How is he not being talked about in a sense of like defensive player of the year, comeback player of the year, all that? How is he not being talked about like that? I think he can too. I think Bosa can reach 20 sacks with 4 games left. How is he not being talked about as player of the year, defensive player of the year? Now I see Aziz Al-Shaair, he's playing really good. I want to talk about like the elite performances. Now again, I need to see a little bit more from him, but the guys that I've talked about, whether it's Jimmy Garoppolo in that moment, right, which we've seen, was it most fourth quarter comebacks 2019. Did it again, this year. Like, I've seen that consistently from Jimmy. Al-Shaair, he's having a terrific year and definitely needs to get his love. He definitely needs to get his love. But not yet. Not yet. But yeah, Bosa, elite. I don't even think I really have to go too deep into it, but I wanted to come on today and give guys their flowers. All right. Appreciate everybody's in the chat right now. You know what to do, man. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. He's having elite performances, but having elite performances doesn't mean that you're elite. I think it's like doing it like over and over and over and over, right? Because what I'm seeing from George Kittle, like that's, he's over and over. I want to give him his flowers. Nick Bosa, he's done it like over and over. Like he's by himself. I saw something that showed quarterback hits and he was like, he has like 28 quarterbacks hits. And then the next person on the 49ers, Arden Key, he has 7. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, damn, like, bro, he's doing it on his own. Now, the defensive line is playing better as a whole. But Bosa's out there, he's kind of an island boy. Bosa's on an island by himself right now. As far as like just being top level, all that type of stuff. But again, appreciate everybody's in the chat right now. I got first caller coming on. Real quick before I get to the first caller, again, I came on and I talked about it. Hold on. How do I do this? All right. I came on and I talked about it. As most of you know, I live in Arkansas. And the northeast part of Arkansas had a huge tornado come through, multiple tornadoes come through, tore up cities or little towns, and is leaving a lot of people to not have, Christmas. A lot of kids are going to go without toys. And one of my buddies from out here in Arkansas, Monticello, I live in southeast Arkansas, he's putting together something to take kids out, to take toys to kids, and there's going to be a toy drive. So I want, if you guys can help, toy drive, tornado relief. If you have anything, if you can help, whether it's $5, $10, whatever it is, here's the link for you to be able to help. Again, this is to help the the kids that are really dealing with this tornado that wiped out a lot of what they had. And the parents maybe don't have the money, to help pick it up. I have a guy, he's putting stuff together, and they created a GoFundMe. So the GoFundMe, all the money goes directly to the kids, the toys, and people just trying to help. So I think I'm gonna go out there Saturday as well to help. I fly out to California Sunday, but we just want to help these people get the same Christmas that our kids are having. So here we go. That's the link right there. You can click the link for the toy drive tornado relief. I don't know what to call it, but devastation hit Northeast Arkansas, and we just want to help any way we can. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We got Underdog Fantasy, promo code Crocky. All right. Got Manscaped, manscaped.com. All right. Make sure if you're not already, go to manscaped.com. They got the new Performance Pack 4.0. New Performance Pack 4.0. When you use promo code Crocky, you get 20% off the entire website. Yo. What's good? I got my guy Roscoe's on. What's good with you, Roscoe's? Roscoe's, you're muted. Chris, you're muted.
Croc, come back to me.
I got you. Oh, he said come back to him. Okay, he's doing something right now. All right. Sound like he was in the bathroom on the toilet or something. All right, here we go. Got my guy Darius. Darius coming on. Darius, what's good with you, big dog?
Man, what's going on, man? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I got you. What did you think? What did you think about me saying that in the last 2 minutes? How many quarterbacks do you feel more comfortable with the ball in their hands in the last couple minutes of the game? More comfortable than Jimmy Garoppolo?
I'm gonna say AR. I'm gonna say Tom Brady, Russell. Can I say Drew Brees? I know he's gone, but
nah, he's retired. Nope.
All right. Shit, that's all I can really riddle off at the top of my head. Oh yeah, Mahomes. My bad. What the hell, Mahomes? Yeah. That's pretty much it. It's probably like only 4 or 5 of them that could do that, man. All 2019, I used to say that about Jimmy. I remember when we played the Cardinals at home, and he threw that pick, and everybody was upset. My partner was upset. I said, man, don't trip, man. Jimmy gonna get that back. And he showed enough that very next drive, boop, 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 got down that field, 5-yard darts, 10-yard darts, running the ball. That's one thing you can't say about Jimmy, man, is when his ass is on the line, so most times, more than not, he's gonna at least get you to the goal line. He don't always punch it in, as was the case with Seattle, but one thing for sure, when there's some seconds on the clock, I'm not too much worried. It's just about when we actually get down there, will he seal the deal? But going forward, I'm confident that he'll get past Atlanta. I'm confident he'll run past all these teams except for maybe the Rams. You know what I'm saying? I've been seeing a lot of other fans talking about we're not even ready to go to the bowl, and it's like, bruh, you don't know what's going to happen, man. Giants was 9-7. You know what I'm saying? And they beat Tom Brady that year, and they wasn't the best, but they was good. Don't get me wrong; they had a very good defensive rush and whatnot. And I just feel like, bro, like any given Sunday, man. Period. Like, how can you count your own team out? I feel like we can match up with anybody when we're playing our best ball. Only 2 liabilities we got would be Jimmy G when he gets jittery, and then Josh Norman when he gets a little handsy out there on the field. Maybe the rookies at corner, but we have yet to even see them develop. And I feel like these next 3 games is really going to bring it out of them. That's my stand on it.
All right, yes, sir.
How you feel about it?
Yeah, especially as far as a team, potentially looking to have a. Somebody said, "Hate you, Croc, for the Island Boy." Hey, Nick Bosa out there on the island by himself. Island Boy.
Island Boy.
But yeah, I feel like the 49ers really get it going, which is Jimmy Garoppolo can't have those slow games, right? He
Right.
can't have those games. Last game, it took here's the thing that was worrisome with the last game. The 49ers got 2 takeaways. They did not turn the ball over. And those takeaways put the 49ers in scoring position. Yet, it took overtime for the 49ers to win. To me, that's a little worrisome. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, that's the signs of a team is like, damn, like we need that type of stuff. And that's a little more on the lucky side, right? It wasn't like the 49ers punched those balls out. That was just a punter dropping multiple returns.
Right.
And that's what, and obviously the defense did a good job of holding off Cincinnati, but like, that's what it takes to win. Like, you know what I'm saying? Unless we're able to run 40 times like we did during that 3-game winning streak. So to me, I'd say if anything is holding the 49ers back.
And see, you touched on something,
Jimmy
right?
Garoppolo.
You touched on something that's been like a common theme this year, bro. And this is what I hate, right? Because, I like to gamble and whatnot. And I tell my cousin all the time, you feel me? Take Niners first half. You take Niners first half all season, you'll be a rich man. That second half, though, I don't know what happens. How we only scored 3 points, man? 2 quarters.
Well, this is how the 49ers only scored 3 points against Cincy. Because in the first half, points were gifted to them by muff punts.
Right. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yes. Exactly.
49ers weren't really
the whole time. They wasn't even playing well. Exactly.
Doing well like that. Not to the extent of having like 17 points on the board. I think 10 of those points came off of the fumbles. So it wasn't like the 49ers were just really driving down the field. So in the second half, when the 49ers were really stagnant offensively, they had a good drive coming out and then didn't score after that until obviously, and they had an opportunity, right, to miss field goal and all that. But when you kind of look at the grand, that whole thing in the grand scheme of things, they just weren't playing well. And Jimmy wasn't playing well. So, he's going to have a big hand in it. If the 49ers are going to be good, they need more consistency from him throughout games. And right now, that's kind of been hit and miss unless the run game is just really clicking.
Right. And God bless Jeff Wilson. It seems like he's coming along, man. I mean, he averaged 4 yards a carry, even though he didn't have a big game. I felt like that was a real efficient effort from him, because it's like they were stacking the box the whole time. I think they only had like single high damn near the whole game, man, when I was watching the all 22 or whatever. But
right.
I mean, because like you said, it's going to come down to running these backs and aiding Jimmy into getting it done, man. It's going to be interesting, man. The postseason. Right now, it's looking like, I know everybody got mad at me yesterday. Croc, you got me. You got me in the debate. I had to start filibustering. You know what I'm saying? Hey, when all else failed, you got to filibuster, and you got me. You feel me? But at the end of the day, the reality is we are looking at Tampa Bay right now. That's all I'm saying. I know everybody wants to play these other teams, but they also want ice, water, and hell. And until you know what I'm saying? So it's like we have to have these conversations as far as how do we match up against, a team that we could potentially face. Not who we want to face, but what it's really looking like. And I mean, I'm always say that we could beat anybody if we playing our ball, if we could bring it. And I mean, consistently, Bosa's come into play. Aziz, Kawan, even Eric Armstead, D Jones. Say what you want about Tom Compton, but man, he opened up the doors for Debo for that touchdown. The run blocking and we have to start getting on these guys' strengths and not their weaknesses, because we could sit on their weaknesses all day and just feel down about this team, or we can start really circling what they do well and expose that, because that's how you win the game. And you're not going to win nitpicking at what they don't do. It's about what they do.
And I think what it is a lot of times when something goes wrong, that's highlighted, right? That's the thing that people notice the most, right? Whether it's cornerbacks, right? Josh Norman. We're talking about Josh Norman. Everybody talk about how Josh Norman sucks. I ain't hear nobody mention Josh Norman at all in the Cincinnati game.
Thank you.
But the moment he does give up something, see, Josh Norman, so with
Right.
Compton, whenever he gets beat or whatever, a lot of times they're going to focus more so on that than the other 50 reps where Tom
And
Compton did what he was supposed to do. So that's
that part.
just comes with the territory of one playing cornerback and offensive line because you don't see those guys on a consistent basis. They're typically highlighted on replays when something's not going their way.
Right, man. And I'm a troll when it comes to Josh Norman. There's another dude that got his podcast named Brad, and he be on Josh Norman. So every time Josh Norman does good, I'm on him. I'm sending them super chats, bro. Say something now about Josh Norman. He'll ignore it, won't even read it. It's like, man, keep that same energy. Like,
Yeah.
the same way that I criticize Jimmy, I'm gonna show him love. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is my team. I love my team. Before I even knew what football was, I was a 49er fan, man. To give you a little backstory about me, my uncle, my mom's little brother, is Michael Carter. He played nose tackle back in the 80s, retired like 91 or something like that, right? 1989, he came to my grandma's house with hella 49er gear. I was born in 1986, so I was 3 years old. I don't know what the hell a 49er is, but that's what we're running with. And ever since then, that's been me. You're like, I'm a Niner. I cannot hate this team. Like, I hate sometimes what they do. A lot of times the organization makes me mad, but at the end of the day, I'm going down with the ship. Period.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like, you can't tell me if my boys get into the dance, man, they're not gonna wiggle and jiggle, man. They're not gonna cut a rug out there, bro. It's just, we gonna get all the bad hoes in that motherfucker and we gonna leave with that ring. That's how I feel.
Yeah, let's do it. Yes, sir.
Man.
Yes, sir.
But you stay blessed though, man. Stay blessed.
All right.
Everybody in the chat, stay blessed. Y'all have a good day today.
All right, have a good one, D.
All right, man.
All right, that was my dog D. Real quick, Trice, and I talked about Norman, right? And how Norman played a whole game against Cincinnati. I don't even remember people really talking about him, and or actually having anything like legitimately bad to say about him. So our guy Trice says, well, they were throwing to their rookie. That's why Norman didn't get trashed by Higgins and Chase. And I would say they only targeted the rookie 4 times. Joe Burrow threw 34 passes. Burrow threw 34 passes. The rookie was targeted 4 times. 4 times. The rookie was targeted 4 times out of 34 passes. So you mean in those other 30 passes, they couldn't get at Norman? All I'm saying is clearly he wasn't an issue. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Nobody wants to talk about that. But if he does some weird stuff, then they're gonna say that's why he shouldn't be out there. That's all. That's all I'm saying. That's all. Come on, my guy Roscoe's coming on. What's good? What's good, Chris?
What's up, Croc? Happy National Signing Day.
It is. How you feeling about the USC Trojans?
Oh, 100%. It's a day that I've been waiting for. We're not going to get a lot of recruits. We're just going to get some of the big top dogs, and some of them are not going to sign today, or they're not going to announce today. So it's going to be a waiting game all the way until January. But USC is in the picture and a lot of top guys, team. So I'm excited about that. But let's talk about some Justin Herbert, because I thought you was disrespectful to Justin Herbert, saying that you would take Jimmy G over Justin Herbert in the last 2 minutes. Croc. Wait, and then let me get on you for this, Croc. I got to get on you for this, Croc. I mean, you did say Romo was better. Romo is way better than Jimmy G. And yes, you are correct. Romo made some weird mistakes at the most opportune times in the biggest games on prime television. I remember that Denver Broncos game. Remember the Denver Broncos game where the Cowboys and Broncos put up?
Yeah, it was like 50 to 49 or something like that.
Yep, and he threw the ceiling pick or whatever.
But here's the thing, bro. That's tough because we're talking about. I mean, Tony Romo was lights out the whole game. He threw 500 yards. He threw for like 500 yards, like 4 or 5 touchdowns, and then on the last drive, he gave his receiver an opportunity to throw a pick. Now, I can live with a pick like that. Obviously, you don't want to live with any pick, right? But that wasn't a pick where it's like I don't see a guy and I just throw it right to a safety or a linebacker. It wasn't even. It was just I give my guy a chance, and the DB comes down with it instead of my receiver. So that is a
Yeah,
little different. But go ahead.
No, I thought no. The pick he threw, it was a bad pick. I think a linebacker picked it off. If I'm
No,
correct.
it was the DB down the field, down the left sideline.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll get that to you. I thought it was a. Are you sure?
Hold on. I'm gonna bring it up. But go ahead.
But yeah, I thought I used to be one of those Romo haters, and then I was just like, let me just watch the guy, and then I just like, man, why was I was hating on him because he was a Cowboy, and I grew up a Cowboy hater, and that's what I do. I'm supposed to hate on the Cowboys, but as a football fan, I stopped doing all of that. And
okay, hey, it was a linebacker. My bad. Hey, it was a linebacker. He got hit while throwing.
Okay, yeah, thank you, Croc. Ha! Thank you, Croc.
Or he like tripped. I don't know. It was weird. But yeah,
Yeah.
okay. It was kind of
bad
kind of bad. All right, but go ahead.
But yeah, no.
Maybe it was a Cowboy DB that got an interception downfield on Peyton Manning. Did Peyton Manning throw a pick that game?
I don't know. I mean, it was such a crazy game. It was
a crazy game. If you guys haven't watched that game, Cowboys versus Broncos, I don't remember what year it was, but the final score was 51-48. It was a crazy game.
It could have been the year Peyton threw 55 touchdown passes, which could have been 2013.
Yeah.
But yeah, Croc. So just I think Justin Herbert has five fourth quarter comebacks this year, 5 game-winning drives, which means he led his team. I know it's not talking about 2 minutes because it's just showing the stat because fourth quarter comeback, actually a game-winning drive is basically, he put his team in the lead to win the game. Oh, no, I don't know. It's a game-winning drive. Yeah, 5 game-winning drives. So I know Jimmy don't got 5 game-winning drives this year. Herbert only had he had 1 fourth quarter comeback last year, 3 game-winning drives. This year, he's got 5 fourth quarter comebacks and 5 game-winning drives. So I think a lot of, and like you say, a lot of what Jimmy do, he puts himself in the situations to have to pull us out. Darius mentioned, the Cardinals game, Jimmy G threw some bad picks that game. What other game? The Rams game. Remember the Rams game in 2019?
Right. Now those weren't that was a little tough because you have one where it looked like man coverage and you had Jalen Ramsey down, and then all of a sudden you're throwing to a wide open Emmanuel Sanders, but then he's not open because Jalen Ramsey pops out. That was a great play. And then the other interception was Jimmy throwing a slant and Ramsey got his hand in there, popped the ball up, and then they picked it off. But yeah, but still, to your point, his interceptions were the reason why he had to have the fourth quarter comeback.
And I just don't think Herbert puts his team in bad situations all the time. Like Jimmy against the yeah, dude, look, man. I was one of the guys who were telling everybody Justin Herbert is going to be that guy. And I got to see him play live last year in the Rose Bowl in January, and I seen the athleticism. I mean, we always knew he had it up, but seeing it,
you were impressed with that game though, because wasn't his final score like 6-6 or 6-9 or something like that?
No. The Rose Bowl.
I'm thinking of the conference championship. I think at Levi Stadium.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about the Rose Bowl last year. It's not technically not last year, but like 2 seasons ago in 2019. But they play on they play in 2020, so they're playing in January, and so I went to that Rose Bowl game, and it was like he had 3 rushing touchdowns, but it was a lot of nice runs, and then he played really good in the Senior Bowl, and a lot of people didn't understand because it's like Oregon offense is not it's not really vertical. You see a lot of horizontal type plays where they're just throwing the screens, throwing a little short ding and dunk passes. You never really see anything vertical. And so a lot of people didn't know how talented his arm was. You seen that throw on Sunday. You highlighted that throw on Sunday on Twitter. That was a nice throw. I think he threw it over 3 defenders' head, right?
I mean, but yeah. It was like 2, but yeah.
Okay, yeah. I mean, but still, it was just that was some crazy arm talent. So I definitely would take Justin Herbert in the last 2 minutes. I take Matt Ryan in the last 2 minutes. I'm not even going to say the usual suspects like the Bradys and all of that. I take Ben over Jimmy in the last 2 minutes. I mean, I'll take Lamar Jackson in the last 2 minutes over Jimmy Garoppolo. Lamar Jackson is the reason why his team even have, I would say, at least 5 of those wins. Lamar Jackson literally had to pull them out of the gutter. And he's dealing with lots of injuries on his team. So
he also hold on, Lamar Jackson. Hold on, because we talk about Jimmy, and we start talking about what he's doing and certain issues and whatnot or interceptions. But Lamar Jackson right now,
I know his interceptions. He has
how many?
About 14 or 16.
13.
Okay, yeah.
Not ideal.
True, but what are we missing with Lamar Jackson? There's a whole other section that he brings to the table that Jimmy will never bring to the table.
Yes, but I don't think that can. But at the end of the day, you got to be a quarterback first.
No, 100%. But he's so much more dynamic that I would say I wouldn't compare the stats like that. Like I'll give you an example. Somebody came on Spaces yesterday and said Jimmy Garoppolo and Kirk Cousins in the has the same amount of turnovers and the same amount of starts. I'm like, what? And I said, well, first off, Cousins has played. If you look at the last 4 seasons, right, compare Cousins and Garoppolo. Now Garoppolo's been injured a lot, so I'm not sure how they can even compare the certain amount of starts. I guess they just using the exact amount of starts. So they say, he has that many turnovers. Well, I'm like this. In the last 4 seasons, Kirk Cousins only got 34 interceptions, and I think he got quite a few fumbles, right? He has 118 touchdown passes, though. I'm almost guaranteeing you that's like 60, 70 more than Jimmy Garoppolo. So that's what I'm saying. You can't compare them two because one is just much more dynamic. Remember we talked about Brady had 10 interceptions and by that time Jimmy only had like 13 picks or something like that. And I said, well, you can't use Brady to compare to him because Brady also got 30 something plus touchdown passes. So I just think we can't compare Jimmy to these other guys because he's just not as dynamic as they are. And don't get me wrong, like I was the one that was more excited about the game than you were. You was not excited about how Jimmy played, but I was like, oh, he won us that game. He was clutch and all that. I said all of that, but I'm gonna calm it down a little bit and say,
what did I say?
He was like, how did you feel about the win? I was like, I liked it. And he was like, and you was like, it was an ugly game. Jimmy did not play good for the first 3 1/8 quarters. And remember you was like, I don't even know if I should go in on him. And I'm like, Croc, you got to be you. You got to be authentic. I was like, if you feel the way you feel, you got to go in. And you went in on Monday. But for me, I like I said, I was excited. I was super happy. I was ecstatic. But at the end of the day, I also I think you brought me back down to earth. I'm like, well, he really wasn't performing up until that point. And he really tried to give the game away. And so to say that you would take Jimmy Garoppolo over Herbert, I wouldn't expect that. I said. Oh, no. In the last 2 minutes. Yeah. Let me make sure I don't put words in your mouth. In the last 2 minutes, you said you would take Herbert over Garoppolo, and I still think that's cap. That's cap, Croc. I
gotta watch some more Justin. I mean, obviously, I've watched Justin Herbert. I'm in love with the player. Like, don't get that. You know what I'm saying? I want one of those.
That's why I had to.
Hey, and this is the thing too. This is the thing too, man. I'm glad we're having this conversation. Everybody, they watch these guys, right? They watch the Josh Allens, they watch the Justin Herberts and stuff, and it's like, hey, Like, I want one of those, right? And it's like, yeah, we do. And with the 49ers, like, well, we have one. Is he to that level yet? No. But what's the best way to get him to that point? Does he have the ability to do those things? Yes. And but it's like a lot of people are just so, again, to go back to my metaphor I used earlier, I used on Locked On 49ers. Everybody wants the corn dogs, right? Like they want the corn dogs, they just pop in the microwave for 2 minutes and it's done. They don't want the good pizza that you gotta preheat the oven and wait and take the wrapper off and slide the pizza in there, and
Oh,
then let it cook for 30 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Like, and
you
people
going
they want everything, huh?
you going deep. I see what you're saying. People want the finished product, but they don't want that. They don't want to go through the stages where that product have to be refined and the process. They don't
Right.
want to go through the process. And you talking deep right
So
now. We
it's
getting deep
always,
here.
it's always, well, no, he won't be that. Like I saw some people on Twitter, right? And they were like, oh, we would be lucky if Trey Lance was half of what Herbert is or half of what Josh Allen is. And it's like why can't he be that? Like why can't he become that? Right? But everybody's so focused on like microwave.
Yeah,
That's it.
no. Again, it's that finished product effect. It's that effect where people be like, "Man, Croc, I wish I could be like you, Croc." Or I wish I could be like this person or that person. But you don't know what that person had to go through to get to where they are. They don't know what you had to go through to get where you are. Uh, people don't understand the cost.
Hold
People
on.
don't count.
So right. That part. Okay, so listen. So we got my guy Michael Hurd right here. He said, but Herbert was good from day one. There is a difference, right? Between, let's say Herbert, let's say Trey Lance, right? And this just Justin Herbert played 4 years at University of Oregon and came in and they still did not want him to start.
Yep.
You guys remember it was their coach was like, we're not starting him, we're starting Tyrod Taylor, right? That was their goal. And then he came in and played. And as well as Justin Herbert was playing, sometimes he would do things that ended up resulting in losses. So if you look at, even though he was playing well, right? If you look at their win losses over that time, and they have big leads in a lot of those, I mean, they would be out 24-3 over some of these teams, and those other teams came back and they won. Herbert still had to learn how to play winning football. And this is a guy who played 4 years at Oregon. He was a 4-year starter at Oregon. Now, all that experience came in, and they lost a lot of games. Kyle Shanahan's not willing to deal with that. But where the Chargers were better for going through that, even with Herbert, who may not have as drastic of a learning curve as Trey Lance, who played 1 year at North Dakota State, right? But they were losing with him, and they had to go through that to win the last 4 games of the season. Last 4 games, they won 4 straight games at the end of the year with Justin Herbert. He had to grow into that and then grow into the guy that we see now, who is just amazing. And like my guy Chris just said, 5 game-winning drives, 5 fourth quarter, whatever, all that. He had to grow into being that because he wasn't that as a rookie. So you can say, yeah, he was good from day one. Okay, he was 4 years at Oregon. He was kind of more ready and suited for that moment. But even then, he still had his ups and downs. He still had to learn. He still had to go in the oven.
Yeah, and he didn't start day one. Literally, it took a team doctor messing up on Tyrod Taylor for Herbert to get in there. He lost the QB battle. Actually, he wasn't even given a chance. Like Trey Lance wasn't given a chance. The only difference is that Jimmy
they didn't think he was ready, bro. They didn't think their
think he
coaching
was ready.
staff, everything from whatever they saw in practice or train, whatever the case is, they did not think he was ready. And they weren't even going, even after he started, and it was like, damn, this looks really good. They lost, but it was like, damn, it looked good, right? It's like, oh, surely he has to start the next game. They wanted to go back to Tyrod Taylor even then, but Tyrod Taylor wasn't ready to come back from the punctured lung or whatever the case was. So they had to start. They had to start Herbert again, and then he played good again. And it was like, okay, well, we got to keep playing him, even though it's not necessarily, resulting in wins.
And this could have happened for Trey Lance, but he got hurt,
Right?
and so right back to Jimmy. But all right, Croc. Thank you.
Appreciate you coming on, big dog.
Yeah.
So yeah, somebody said that was a hell of a mistake on the Doc part. It was. It was. And yeah, that staff, Anthony Lynn. I was actually on the Jets with Anthony Lynn. Anthony Lynn, he was a running back coach when I was with the New York Jets. But they got fired. And that's part of the issue with sometimes playing younger guys. Even though Justin Herbert, who is excellent and he's good, right? He's all those things. He's amazing. And even then, and you see the progress and you see Anthony Lynn winning 4 games down the stretch with him, even then it's like, your ass got to go still. And that's what some of these coaches are sometimes worried about. That's probably what Kyle Shanahan's worried about. Now, maybe Kyle Shanahan has more leeway, but I'd say if you look at kind of resumes, Anthony Lynn might have even had more success than Kyle Shanahan. Now he did at Phillip Rivers, so it's not as fair. But Anthony Lynn, he wasn't all bad as a head coach, but still had to go. Still had to go. You know, I appreciate everybody coming on here, man, today, chatting with your boy, Underdog Fantasy. Don't forget to do that. You know what I'm saying? UnderdogFantasy.com. Go to that right now. Go make you some money. All right? Go make you some money. Here's the link right now if you guys want to get active with Underdog Fantasy. Click the link right now. Use the promo code Crocky, and that'll let them know how you found them. Go make you some money. I do a lot of betting on over and unders. That stuff is all great. Also, Locked On 49ers. Go listen to that. Locked On NFL Draft. Listen to that. Tomorrow morning, we'll be back. Oh, and I do have that 49er player. He's coming on after the break. So I don't want to say who it is now. I don't want to say who it is yet. But he is a former 49er player. He was there early on in the process of not being that good team, right? I don't even want to say when he was a rookie because then y'all might catch on. But he wasn't a starter right away. He didn't start until Harbaugh showed up. He started 3 years with Harbaugh. And, yeah. Good guy. When we talk about development for rookies and things like that, he's going to be somebody good to talk about because he didn't start right away. And then contributed to 3 straight NFC Championship appearances and a Super Bowl. So shout out to him for coming on when he comes on after the break. I appreciate everybody that's in the chat. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button if you like this show. Manscaped.com, promo code Crocky. Get 20% off right now. But until next time, tomorrow morning, 6:30 a.m. Pacific, 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. I will see y'all then. I'm out. Peace.
Intercepted. It is picked off by Eric Walker. Over midfield, he'll run it all the way into the end zone. Touchdown.
Crosstalk TV podcast. Peace.